How are you?
Good to be back.
Good to be back.
Good to be back.
It's nice to see you.
Tough Luck Podcast.
Yes, I'm Megan.
And I'm Lily.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
We're not on our usual camera.
Yeah, we've been having all the technical difficulties this morning.
Yes.
And we're just saying, like, we're not even in Mercury retrograde, like, right now. Like, what's going on? Like, why is everything so hard today?
Things are just difficult. It's
okay.
Can't work somehow.
You know, we learn. We learn from our struggles.
Yeah. So
it's all right.
I had the same problem during Mercury retrograde with the camera, and here we are just, But
we figured it out then.
It's because I brought my other camera.
Exactly, because we were prepared with all the backups,
and I just assumed everything would go fine, and I shouldn't have.
We just assumed.
Lesson learned.
Mercury retrograde's over. Everything's supposed to be perfect, right?
It's supposed to be magical.
Right. Not necessarily.
But maybe not.
Not necessarily, yeah.
We're just in the thick of it, as they say. Like we're all full steam ahead.
Absolutely.
As they say. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about today is the importance of community.
Lovely.
Which is a beautiful thing, and I figured we'd start off with kind of our backstory with our lives, actually, of community, how it's changed, where you begin in life.
Absolutely.
And so, we all start off in high school. Well, I guess we start off with our families, if we're starting from the beginning of life.
Right.
And then that's our core, that's our community, is
Absolutely.
The family.
That's all you really know at that point, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have no other friends except maybe a couple neighbor friends, but there's not really much else going for you. It's just kind of
And I mean, I guess I do know a lot of people who do raise their kids with like a lot of community and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, but I think I've also seen a lot of little kids have a hard time just being away from their parents at that time in their life, parents really trying to get their kids out in the community around other people, babysitters, other families, yada, yada, yada. But I feel like at that age, like, kids have a really hard time, just being away from their parents.
Yeah.
Because that's, like, the community that they want to be with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it stinks because it's like, we can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. Well, at that age, you're so in love with your parents. You're not even.
Like, they're your whole world.
They're your whole world.
So
that's it.
Exactly.
So, and after that point, we enter into school or homeschool in some cases.
Yeah.
But you enter into this phase where you have the entire community almost. It's almost abundance of community.
And then I feel like at that point in your life, you're like man, like, why won't my parents leave me alone or whatever?
Yeah.
You're trying to, I feel like at that point you're trying to find your own community and the people that you really want to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
You've lost those, like, rose-colored glasses for your family at that point, like when you're little, your parents are all perfect and all knowing and all well, and then when when we start to get older, we're like, oh, our parents don't know everything, and then you're kind of seeking from other people. And I feel like when I was in high school, I was also finding a lot of mentors and stuff, like not just like friends who I found community with, but like people who are older and knowledgeable, but obviously no one knows everything, so like seeking community in other people, and that's okay. It's good, I think, to look for mentors and older people, even though they don't know everything, just because you're just like taking, I feel like it's like taking little bits of information from other people, and just like knowing that your parents, I don't really know where I'm going with this, knowing that your parents, they don't know it all, and that's okay.
There's not.
They really did the best that they could and stuff, and I think it's important to seek other knowledge from other people. So it's exposure to sort of the rest of your general world in this very local world way, and when you're a kid, you don't really have that exposure, or when you're like essentially a toddler to like 3 years old,
you've never had the exposure. You're just you're just within
you're
those
like,
four
this is
walls.
the life, you know, that I have.
This is it.
This is the people that I know.
You're basically like your cat. Like,
right.
You're just never leaving the house.
Literally.
You can leave the house, but it's very small exposure, whereas when you're in school, you get a little more exposure, but it's still confined to the local area. Mm-hmm. It's really not anything beyond, you know, the other people within the community. And from there on, you enter into either the workforce or you enter into college. Mm-hmm. Now, college is something else, where it's a community of people who are typically like-minded. They're studying roughly the same subjects you are, and or if you're entering into the workforce, it's the people who are in generally the same boat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you have a community within that world that whichever way you decide to go, or if you do, some people do a internship, or it's almost like an apprenticeship of sorts. Yeah. And those are communities too. So, but we get exposed to different age groups in this sense, where we're entering into the workforce. I know in terms of my husband, he's an engineer, so he has people from a bunch of different ages. Yes, they're doing the same job, but some who have been in it for years and are well equipped and know everything, and then some who are just getting started and then in the middle. So, but yeah, there's essentially an array of different communities, and I wanted to get into that with you a little bit, Lily, about how having a community is important, and especially people within our age group. I know a lot of people who struggle with loneliness and just not having enough social time, especially with the rise of social media.
Right.
Which, do you have any thoughts in terms of, how is, in terms of your exposure to your community and everything, how does it feel like there's a lot of abundance of people, or do you feel like it's sometimes sparse?
I mean, I work like multiple different jobs and stuff, and I feel like I see a lot of different community and like a lot of different people, a lot of different like backgrounds and stuff, and it's beautiful, honestly. Like, so many, I think like the best part about it is like so many different perspectives and stuff. And like, you know, I work in a kitchen. I work in an all vegan kitchen, but I'm the only vegan in the kitchen.
Oh,
you know, like I'm the only person who actually eats that way, and who's actually like really passionate about like the vegan aspect of it. Whereas I'm also surrounded by all these people who are amazing chefs, amazing people, and like they have different passions in food than what mine look like, but we've still all come together in this one place to share all these like different kinds of passions and like you know, fueling them together and stuff. And I think it's really special, and I really enjoy like the different perspectives. And you know, I work with kids too, and I feel like kids project a lot of what their parents think, especially like 5-year-old kids, like will just honestly like spit at me some like really really weird, really out there like political stuff. Sure. Like, you know, like they're like telling me like who they think I should vote for and stuff, and like they're like, well, do you like Biden or do you like Trump, and like all these questions, and like, you know, like really formulating an opinion around like this person that they've never met, that they know nothing about, that like their parents have just like been telling them. So I think like that aspect is also really interesting, because it also gives me an opportunity to like you know, give my perspective. And like usually what I'll tell these kids is, like, if they ask me, well, do you like Biden, do you like Trump? I'm like, well, I've never met either of them, so I don't, you know, like, I don't really have an opinion on them because I've never met them in person. And then these kids are, like, looking at me like, oh, I've never met them either, you know? Like,
I love them.
Literally.
I love these kids.
They're like, oh. They're like, oh, wait. oh yeah, I've never actually met these people either. Like, why am I formulating this extreme opinion?
Yeah.
So,
it's so cute how kids have such a black and white viewing of the world, and that just goes into their development, and
for sure
they're not ready they're not ready to
like I really hit them with that one, you know.
You probably jumped them up a chapter in their life just by that one statement. My gosh. Oh my gosh, they're like, oh shoot,
shit, man.
I never knew that. They're just having this mind blown sort of moment.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Yeah, I think I love working with kids with it for that aspect, you know, of just like kind of like challenging them a little bit, challenging how they've been raised and stuff, and I think it's important, you know, because like at that age, you know, their parents are all knowing, whatever their parents say is right, and it's like, but you also have the opportunity to form your own opinion, you know, and
absolutely, that's
like one of the best parts about growing up, I think, is like figuring out what you really want to believe in.
Yeah.
And then you get to seek people who also have those same perspectives and stuff.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Well, good for you for that patient. You know, it takes.
It's not easy because these are the same kids who are telling me that they'll shoot me in the eye with a BB gun.
Oh no!
I get some crazy kids.
That's horrible.
I literally crazy kids. But I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have also experienced that too. You know, kids are wild.
I was threatened to be shot before too, and it's always.
It's like you're 5. You have no aim.
It's like, okay. Well, you kind of have to take it somewhat seriously, unfortunately. I taught 6th grade, so it's a little different. They're a little
They're
older.
starting to formulate their own opinions by then, I feel like.
Yes and no. It's a very new. I mean, you have a sister who's around that age, and they're starting to figure out their own opinions, but it's very beginner friendly time too. So it's testing the waters a little bit of like, you know, what outfits do I want to wear, or just like a little simple ways.
Exactly how they want to express themselves, and absolutely.
It's all so simple back then. So entering into adulthood, which is kind of just the rest of your life at that point. There's you go into all these fun phases, and then it's like, oh, now we're just adults, we're all the same.
Literally.
We're just kind of all equal. We're equals, and have about the same amount of experience. Well, some of us have a little more experience, but it's so important that we have community, because research actually shows that people who are a part of a strong community tend to have lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol levels, and a lower risk of obesity. And that's by Dr. Samantha Stein of Psychology Today.
Wow.
Did you know any of that?
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
No, not at all. This kind of goes along the lines of this, I think, and it kind of goes more into yoga, I feel like.
Sure.
My boyfriend told me the other day, I don't know what effect it is, but he was like, they did a study where they had like 10% of the population start meditating every single day, and all of a sudden, like, the crime rates in that area began to go down. And I don't know, I know there's like, it's like something effect.
Butterfly effect?
Not the butterfly effect, it's like, I want to say it starts with an M. You can probably look it up if you're really interested in it, but something about how they had like 10% of the population start meditating, and all of a sudden, like, it's like this big effect on all these people that like their active like intention in finding peace and stuff brings more peace in the entire community. Isn't that insane?
Wow.
That's beautiful. Like just 10% of the people can make that big of an impact on the crime rate in a whole area. That's amazing. I feel like that really means that like our peace is contagious, you know?
Yeah. It's beautiful.
But I think it's also like, I feel like another point kind of I had a lot of coffee today. My brain's like, boom, boom, boom.
You're fine. No, it's good.
But I feel like we also, especially in adulthood, find ourselves really comfortable in these communities, you know, that are super like-minded as us, you know, like I've definitely found my place in these communities where like, oh yeah, I feel very comfortable, very safe. But I think it's also important for us to indulge in communities that are really different than us and that think differently, and just being exposed to that is really important. And for a while, I don't have kids yet, but I want kids in my future. And for a while, I thought, maybe I really want to homeschool my kids because it's a scary world out there, you know?
Yeah.
It's really scary, and there's a lot of people out there with really scary viewpoints and stuff. Just, like, extreme viewpoints, too. You know, people that are racist, people that are homophobic.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't want my kid to see that. You know, I want to protect them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I heard from, like, this super right-wing lady who was like, I want to homeschool my kids to protect them from trans people, to protect them from people of color, to protect them from all these people that, like, I would want my kid to be exposed to.
Wow.
And, like, I was like, holy shit, like, I'm just on one side of this extreme. And I feel like for, like, a really well-balanced development of a child, like, they need to be able to see and experience both sides, all these viewpoints and stuff, and then formulate what they really believe on their own.
Yeah, it's...
And then to also expose ourselves to that shit, too. You know, it's out there, and it's scary, but it's also real.
Yeah.
You know? People think differently than us, and we gotta, like, find beauty in their humanity and not just, like, their viewpoints, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate that sentiment so much because it's encouraging us to grow as people and
right.
and
to just have a more open heart. I feel like if we can empathy, exactly, to accept people who think completely differently than us, but still find that they're just a human.
We're just being human.
They're just here with us. We're just here together, you know?
Yeah, there's very few people who are doing it out of they're trying to make the world worse, you know. They think to themselves, they think that it's going to make them better, and not to, I mean, whichever opinion you fall under, it's hard to argue that the other side didn't have they came to that conclusion somehow, and they had their mentality. Now, I don't necessarily think that, especially with the trans opinions, like I am not that is, I will never support that opinion, but that's just because, you know, I think we're starting to get a little bit better in terms of accepting one another. But like the world, if we don't start to come together and start to become united in this front and in this way, I think that it's just going to tear us apart. I mean, I know there's a lot going on in this world, and if we get into that, it's gonna stir some emotions. But I'm certainly privileged here, sitting in this, you know, comfy room with you, having tea.
Literally,
we're not in any foreseeable danger, at least. But it certainly is a different world out there, and the more I do believe, I don't know if it is a butterfly effect or not, but that if we start to have peace within ourselves, that it'll spread to others. And I mean, I did a little bit of research on the word yoga, and the origin of the word in Sanskrit it sounded like yuji, which is it comes from that word. Yoga does, and that means union. And essentially, what it's telling us is that we ourselves have to be union with who we are, and be at peace with who we are, to then give back to other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cycle. How you would think, you know, give to others, of course, but yeah, if you're not filled within yourself, you can never fill another person. And
Absolutely.
yeah. So I think too, if you are in this state of mind where, you're having an existential crisis with maybe you're isolating, and I have that within myself sometimes, where I have days where I spend all by myself, and I'm an extrovert, so I definitely it's probably needed for me to have some of those days here and there, but it doesn't feel good after a certain amount of time. And I do believe that we are supposed to be, in some form or fashion, a social creature.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, even for me as like an introvert, like if I decide to be a hermit in my apartment for a while, like I crave social interaction. Like I crave community. I crave people because when you really find those special people who like lift you up, like that's magic.
Yeah.
People that fill your cup, like feels so good.
Nothing beats it.
And I feel like it's almost easier to be at peace around like those people that make you feel really supported and comfortable, and just like finding those people that you can also like really just feel like yourself around too is super magical. And
you can just be yourself and not have there's a lot of stressors out there in this world, and if we don't have someone to lean on when we're down, then we're bound to fall.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's good.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like important to ask for help.
Yeah.
And to lean on people, and to find the right people to lean on too.
Right. It's important.
Yeah. And I think that like when we establish more peace within ourselves, like that's just like energetically gonna bring in people who are also peaceful. Like if you can like sit down with yourself and have that peace and clarity and like self-love, then that's just only gonna attract people who are on the same vibration as you. And then those are the kind of people that you're gonna feel really comfortable being yourself, leaning on, asking for help, because like those people are also gonna feel as secure with you.
Yeah.
So
what a beautiful trade. I always think to myself,
it is a trade.
It is. It's that exchange of love to love, and it's the giving, not expecting anything in return, but when you do need that help, it's there.
Exactly.
So
it'll come back around for sure. It's karma.
It is karma. It is, yeah. I love how that we kind of, I didn't even realize it was karma when I first thought of, talking about this. It was in the community, but karma. You surround yourself with karmic love all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's wow, yeah. So
it's really it's your choice,
Yeah.
And like, yoga means union, and I stopped going to a yoga studio and like kind of started practicing in my room on my own, like in my underwear,
Yeah.
And I feel like I did like learn a lot, developed a lot about my own practice, learned more about my body and stuff, and just being able to like, sit in my room by myself and really take that time. But then I craved doing yoga with other people, just because like the power and like hearing everybody breathe around you, and just like having that shared experience, even though you're not necessarily like talking about it or anything, like, but just knowing that you're all having that same experience, like I crave that,
Yeah.
And
it's a real thing.
Going to a yoga class like after all that was like super empowering, and like, and just also to be like us as teachers, like it's so nice for someone to guide you.
Yeah.
It just feels so good to just like shut your mind off and just like listen to what this person, like all the wisdom and knowledge that this teacher has to tell you, like and just to like step back into that student role again.
Yeah.
Because like us as teachers, I feel like we should always be learning, and
absolutely. It doesn't stop with when when the class is over, once you finish your teacher training or whatever, it doesn't stop there. The learning continues past training, and even beyond your first year, you learn every single day. I learn from my class all the time.
Absolutely.
My community is often my students, and there's a lot of people there who, you know, they build me up as a teacher because I've never had somebody of this person, like never had this type of person before. Teaching, you know, yoga teachers, they're often a lot of the times they've done it for years. They know what they're doing. But then teaching a beginner is a totally different thing.
Right.
So it's I was learning how to teach people who are still new to the practice and getting used to their own bodies and their own.
And it's so important to make them feel comfortable in that practice too. You know, like that should be our goal as a yoga teacher, is to make people who've never practiced yoga before feel comfortable trying it out.
Absolutely.
You know? Like when I first started doing yoga, it was really intimidating.
Yeah.
You know? I didn't know all the names of the poses, and teachers would just be like, okay, pyramid. Okay, warrior 2. Okay, warrior 1. You know, and I'm just like looking around at other people like, what?
Like,
what's going on? You know?
I don't know what I'm doing.
What am I doing? Like, it was really intimidating to start practicing yoga in a studio.
And we actually have the perfect service if you happen to
Exactly.
if you happen to want to dip your toes in the water, or even if you're experienced. Even
if you're experienced, join us. Like we have our little yoga sphere community.
Yeah, we have a
little community. We got a community.
Yes, we have some really awesome videos coming up, and we're excited to expand. We have some ideas of future additions to our repertoire, and we're super excited. We have, basically, if you like what you see on this podcast, support the podcast and support our yoga channel by coming to the Yoga Sphere monthly or annual membership.
Absolutely. Clairvoyance Yoga.
Clairvoyance Yoga, www.clairvoyanceyoga.com. Sign up there.
Oh, you sound so professional, Megan.
I'm practicing a little bit. I got a little practice going on here. Gotta try to fake it till you make it, as they say. A little bit too.
Literally.
I try my best.
Literally.
So, but just super excited for what's in store with you, Lily. And
absolutely.
We may do a collaboration. If you like those, let us know. We might do a class together sometime.
Absolutely.
I've been wanting to do one, honestly.
Yeah, that was our goal for last month, but things happen and
you know what?
And we move on.
It's a new day, new month.
We keep going. Me and Megan, we keep going.
We keep going.
No matter what.
Persevere.
Literally.
Yes. Well, Lily, cheers to
you. A lovely little chat on my couch.
Yes.
Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back, Lily.
Beautiful. All right, everybody.